be lying. How can we reduce that? Number one, you probably already have this tool in your bathroom that is so helpful with reducing lying. It's called the mirror. Look at yourself and say, do I lash out at every mistake? Do I even listen to my kid's opinion? Am I even creating a safe space for my child to tell the truth? I know I didn't have that safe space as a child. If I forgot to flush the toilet at 6, my ass was grass. So I would lie till I die. Okay? So create the safe space for honesty. Number two, don't play games with your kids. Don't ask if they did something you already know the answer to. If you know your kids be lying, don't set them up to lie. That is petty Crocker and it defeats the purpose. So instead of saying, did you do your homework? Say, I noticed you didn't do your homework. Number three, don't ask why they lied. I struggle with this one, but it only gives them an opportunity to justify lying. And we know ain't no reason to be lying. So instead, talk about why they shouldn't have lied and reinforce safety. You know, you didn't have to lie about playing in my makeup. Remember, you're allowed to ask to use my things. Now, sometimes I may say no, but I know you respect me and I also know you can handle hearing no sometimes. Next time, just ask so you don't feel like you have to make that decision on your own. That's what I'm here for.
How to handle people that lie just because. And this question is specifically about adults. So kids are learning and their brains are still developing. Adults have patterns of behavior. And so if somebody started lying as a kid and just lying all the time, they may take some of those patterns into adulthood. This does not excuse that behavior. It just helps me understand. I cannot control whether somebody tells me the truth or not. But I do get to say whether or not I'm going to be around this person, whether I'm gonna be in a committed relationship with them. And then just knowing whatever your deal breakers are. Because sometimes people that lie all the time, they might lie about the color of their shirt. And then the person that's being lied to has to also acknowledge what being lied to triggers in them. Because maybe there's something in my childhood that this pushes a button. I think a lot of the recommendations in the original video can apply here as well, especially trying to not react emotionally to the lie or even to asking the question. If you know the answer, just say it. Tips if you struggle with telling the truth. One of the first things you'll want to do is identify your triggers. What situations, what people, what feelings, what's going on in your body when you do tell a lie. For some people, they are anxious. They are people-pleasing. It's when they're feeling ashamed, when they're just trying to not get in trouble, and that can trigger some unresolved stuff from the past. Special note for if you were spanked, lying might have been a way to avoid physical punishment. So trying to take a breath before you answer, because that initial response might not be the truth. Acknowledging that fear, thinking about, is this a safe person or not? And then setting and holding some boundaries. So if a friend asks me to go out and I just don't want to, I can say no and I don't really have to explain. I'm always a fan of those DBT skills, so acceptance and learning to tolerate the discomfort of the truth can be helpful. As always, therapy, self-help. This comment is so important and comes from one of my favorite people. For some people, lying kept them safe, and the truth was not safe. So that's why I have a lot of compassion for people that struggle with the truth. And it is something that can be worked on. Why do some people lie all the time? I think it's important to start with the difference between a pathological liar and a compulsive liar. And this information comes from this article. A pathological liar lies to get their way. It might have been a coping mechanism that they developed in early childhood, and it can be associated with antisocial personality disorder or narcissistic personality disorder. And just a side note, antisocial means against social norms. It doesn't mean doesn't like to be around people. A pathological liar, those lies are typically goal-oriented, and they're often viewed as cunning and manipulative. Whereas a compulsive liar typically lies out of habit. These are the people that bend the truth about anything and everything, and for them, telling the truth may feel awkward, whereas lying might feel right. This often typically develops in early childhood in an environment where lying was routine. And it can sometimes be associated with borderline personality disorder, ADHD, or bipolar disorder.